Hello, I'm the Brown Booktuber, and today we're going to be talking about all of Murakami's protagonists being the same. Okay, hear me out before I get some angry comments down below. This is just a thought. I'm hopefully going to expand on this in the future once I read hopefully most, if not all, of Murakami's collection, because I'll be honest, I have read quite a few Murakami books, including his short stories and also his sort of autobiographical books, but I haven't read all of his books. I will continue to read his books. I do love his books, but a lot of the time his protagonists are the same. Let's talk about this. So, like I said before, I have not read all of his books. For example, I have the trilogy of the 1Q84 books, or however you say that correctly, I don't know. I've not read those. There's other ones, like I think Sputnik Sweetheart I've not read, I think Pinball I've not read, but all of the ones I have read, including short stories, his protagonists seem to be very similar, which I understand, because he's an author. A lot of authors kind of self-insert themselves or inspire their protagonists through themselves, their lives, their experiences. Completely understand that, but I feel like there's not a lot of variety going on here. And as I've said, I love Murakami books. I will always read them until I've read them all, I suppose. Then I'll probably reread them. But I'm starting to notice a pattern. And it's a pattern where I kind of am making it harder for me to get through Murakami books. For example, I just read South of the Sun, West of the Border. I'm pretty sure it's West of the Sun and South of the Border. That is correct. And I was really feeling like I don't like this protagonist. And I don't know why. And it's because I was kind of bored of this protagonist. And I was like, why am I bored of this protagonist? This is a short book and I've just been introduced to them. And he didn't set up the protagonist poorly. It was very interesting to see the protagonist's thought process throughout the beginning of the book to get to the meat of it. But I was like, why have I felt like I've read this protagonist before? And it's because a lot of Murakami's protagonists are similar in at least what I've read. Let's talk about this. 1. Mostly, almost all male. Pretty sure all the books I've read, they're basically all males. Even the ones with 2 protagonists are males. And again, male author, self-insert, makes sense. He's probably better at writing male characters, probably can get into their psyche a little bit better than maybe reading or writing a female protagonist. Completely makes sense. But for the most part, they're all either young, early 20s men. There is some discussion of their childhood in most of the books, or like mid to early 30s men, and they're all kind of going through the same thing of, what is my life? What am I doing with my life? This is sad, and also your boy is horny. That's a big thing in Murakami books. And I think that's also putting me off, but I think that's a completely different thing, but a completely different video. But the horn of these books and the protagonists are kind of like, I get it. Sex is an interesting thing to write about, and you can write about it in fantastical ways. Murakami can write about it in dreams, in real life, the effects, the feelings you get from it. You derive so many feelings from it. But if all your protagonists are gonna be horn boys in their 20s to 30s and having basically early midlife crises all the time, it's kind of like, okay, come on dude, like, I've read this person before. Give me a person who is, I don't know, in their 30s, knows exactly what they're doing with their life, but then something happens and then, you know, they go on a journey of discovery and realize what they had is what they wanted. And you can maybe make an argument for that in West of the Sun, South of the Border, but I would say no, you're wrong. I wouldn't say no, you're wrong, but I would debate that, because throughout that book, our protagonist is still kind of like, I've got this great life, but I don't want this great life. And even at the end, he's like, I've got this great life, but this isn't really the life I wanted, but I'm just gonna accept it. And I guess you go through that whole book. I can't ruin that book. It's fine. You know, it's an old book, I think. I'll put a spoiler warning somewhere. But that's still the same character as, say, the main character of Norwegian Woods, where he kind of has this thing he wants in his life. He's doing his life feels empty, then he finds the thing he wants, he kind of gets it, but then it's not there anymore, and then he kind of accepts that, okay, I guess I'm gonna move on in the end. That's the same character. Even in my favourite Murakami book, I would probably say it's my favourite over Norwegian Woods now, Colourless, The Pilgrimage, it's still a character where he's like, I've got this great life, something's missing, let me do this thing to discover what's missing. I discover it, I'm like, yo, that sucks. I'm gonna accept this now. Also, I'm a horn boy throughout this movie. This book. In my dreams this time. Kafka on the Shore. I don't even want to get into Kafka on the Shore. That's just all over the place. But there's definitely horn boys in that. There's Wind Up Bird Chronicles, which again everyone really liked, and I think I'd mentioned in a book before, a book video before. I thought it was fine. It wasn't my favorite Murakami book. It was probably far from my favorite Murakami book. But again, main character, I think 30s to 40s this time, lost, not 100% sure what to do with his life. Horn boy, even in, like, this is going to be spoilers, even in the dream parallel universe, horn boy. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. I'm like, I don't know if it's the fact that they're horn boys or the just I am male ambiguously between 20 to 40 and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm like, these are characters that I would and again, those characters and that aspect of the characters are integral to the plots of the books. So in those books, you're not going to be able to change those characters. You're not going to be able to change what they're like because that part of the character is integral to the plot. So I understand that it's good writing. So those characters will help you get to that plot. But it's kind of getting a bit repetitive for me as someone who I kind of want to get through all of Murakami's books because I want to see the outcome and see if there's a difference, and I just like Murakami's style of writing. But yeah, I'm getting a little bit tired of the protagonists being very similar throughout. And again, this isn't exhaustive. This isn't something where I've done super in-depth analysis on, and I've not looked at anyone else's opinions on this. This is literally something I've spoken to, I think, with a friend, and they were like, I kind of agree. And I'm putting this out there because I want to know what your thoughts on this are. Do you think Murakami's protagonists are too repetitive? Am I wrong? Is this a good thing? Is it good that the author knows the kind of protagonist he can write? Is it good that Murakami knows that maybe this is a little bit of a self-insert? These are things I felt growing and aging, and I'm going to use these. And because he's using his own experience, possibly, this is why the characters are all like that. Let me know, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? You might have a completely different opinion on that to me, and I welcome that and a discussion of that in the comments down below. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, share the video, share it with a friend or family. Let me know what you think of the entire idea of this video, and I hope you read a fantastic book today with varied different protagonists.